Welcome, race fans, to the Daytona paddock and the next round in our fantastic S2 championship here at the VR Simracing World Championship, brought to you by SVR. My name is Webbo, here to join you for today's action, and of course, we are looking forward to seeing how fast these SF23s can get up to. And how our second tier of single-seater drivers can tackle this historic racetrack. This is how things are looking after the Interlagos round. We had a few steward results that ended up changing the overall result to a certain degree. Brokaga are the lead team here in this division on 103 points ahead of Delacy on 98, with Mega Racing on 85. We have Kimi's Racing Team moving up to 4th on 59 points, Verstappen dropping to 5th, JPI going up, that's Jamplacht Interiors going up to 52, and Coach Dave Delta at the back on 46 points. Excuse me a second there. This is how the Drivers' Championship is looking. Empire leads with 76 points, 2 wins and 2 second places. A fantastic run of form from Empire in the Delacy entry on 76 points. Jose Luis Cervantes has 66 points, has also done a tremendous result with 3 consecutive podiums. Then comes Blonded, or V8 Eater as we also know him, on 49 points. Some very strong results from the Team Mega Racing driver. Then Liquid Gecko is in 4th on 33 points. Lurkin Lu has 30 points, but so does Vice, who moves up to joint 5th position. Focal, the reserve driver for Mega, drops down to 7th, having performed for the last 3 races, has 27 points. Then we have John Pauly, Nintendo, AMAC, followed by Zumrin Bijan, Enigma, Jailhouse Chris, Run DMC, and then Sock, Enlighten One, Dummy, Fun Size, Ads, and Sleepwalker. And you can see the greyed out drivers are the drivers who have had the honour to reserve for this particular division. Having a look at the website built by Beragos here, and you can see how the points differences have changed over time, but frankly Empire has been in command since the very start of proceedings this season. We are ready at trackside to get underway, and this is how things look from qualifying. We've got Jailhouse Chris qualifying in 11th position, and 11 races seems to be the total we managed here. We've got John P in 10th place for Delacy, with Liquid Gecko for Kimi's Racing Team in P9. Lucas the Brusque is 8th place for Jamplacht, and then Nintendo joins him on that 4th row in the Buckstein Transport Service car. Next we have V8 Eater in P6 and Christo in P5. AMAC managed 4th and Vice in 3rd, with Run DMC qualifying on the front row of the grid. No surprises though to find Empire leading the way at this fantastic circuit. The drivers have a tailwind into turn 1 and a headwind into the bus stop. This should be very, very interesting. 50 minutes, 26 laps there or thereabouts for the minute count to elapse, and full night conditions, so we can see these wonderful SF23s. Have a look though at the exhaust outlets at the back of the car when the drivers are off throttle, particularly in the infield. They look magical. Okay, well, I hope you're ready. That's enough talking from me. Let's get underway for the race here at Daytona. The S2 race begins then, and we have 5 red lights. Let's see who can make it through turn 1. And it's dropped the clutch, and go. A slow start from the Jamplacht of Vice in that 3rd position, drops down to 7th immediately, where V8 Eater comes through into 5th place. We've got we've got Empire leading the way very, very well straight away into the front of the grid and holding his pole position time as they go side by side through the snake and heading down towards that international horseshoe for the first time. And it is Run DMC in second place, Christo in third, Nintendo in fourth, B8 Eater in fifth, and AMAC just on the court on the outside of the proceedings in that sixth position. Liquid Gecko has the seventh place as they head down in towards the second of the hairpins. It looks like Nintendo is trying to make a move on V8, and we cut away from the Kimmy's Racing Team driver just at the wrong moment, and we go through to find where it is. Oh, it's AMAC who's had a problem early doors. Let me just make sure that I get rid of these driver names because it's a little bit off-putting, and we will have a look at what just happened for AMAC on his way into the corner. He's got his teammate just behind him, it seems. Sorry about the camera work. He's got a teammate behind him as we head through the dogleg then. The cars in front are fighting and sparking off, and we head down into the horseshoe and unfortunately losing it all on our own on cold tyres, and that is a big shame for him on the medium tyres at the start, and he's damaged the car, and it's so difficult to get these SF23s back under control. Soft tyres for Empire helped him to get away nicely from the grid, and Run DMC then on the medium tyre is keeping him within sight. We have Christo in the all-new chrome nighttime livery here for Team Mega Racing through, and just joining Mega Racing as a permanent member, and they're in P2 and in P3 and 4 at the moment. And then in the background we had a little bit of wheel banging between Nintendo and Jailhouse Chris, I think it was, or possibly Liquid Gecko, but both cars surviving that trip through the bus stop. And let's have a look at what it feels like to have a face full of sparks as Liquid Gecko races through to try and get that slipstream. The drivers are going at tremendous speeds here, 185 miles an hour. It was momentarily there for Liquid Gecko as he pulls out of the slipstream and they go side by side heading down into turn one. Can he pull the switch back here? Not quite, as Nintendo holds on to the sixth position, and they are queuing up behind to take advantage of this opportunity. Green lights flashing on the engine box here. Green lights stable, I should say, on the engine box, meaning that the drivers have more than 25% of their overtake push to pass, and they are not using it. When it's flashing, they are using it. And we head down then in towards that second hairpin. And it's currently out on the marbles slightly. Ran Nintendo. Empire got the fastest lap on that first lap, naturally, a 39.484, and I expect that to drop very quickly as the drivers start on full. No, they start on 70 litres of fuel, excuse me, and we have several different opportunities for pit stops available to the drivers, as peeling to the inside there was Vice, who's on the recovery here, started on the second row and is currently in seventh position. Down into the bus stop, he nabs one from Liquid Gecko, and that was well done from him. He's also got a better exit ahead of Nintendo and completing the move back up to sixth place then for Vice, but the cars behind him having to follow in his wheel tracks, and this is definitely proving to be a very tricky race so far. In the midfield, we've got Liquid Gecko, and then behind him, we've got Nintendo defending from Lucas the Brusque, the second of the Jamplacht Interiors cars, who's going for a long lunge round the outside, which is the safer way to do it, but it looks like he's managed to end up on the marbles, and unfortunately the marbles greet you and push you straight into that moist grass in front. Here is Vice though for Jamplacht going for the move on Liquid Gecko, and the Jamplacht cars are not allowing me a moment's hesitation between overtakes as they then continue and pushing. There goes Lucas down the inside. You both. Oh, that was a second. That was the Kimmy's racing car. Liquid Gecko giving up a position. Lucas the Brusque was switched back on from Nintendo and running through then. And oh, and it's a spin from Lucas the Brusque. I imagine that was just traction oversteer. Let's see what happened here. It's very low grip on this section of the racetrack, and as he hits the oval, unfortunately, the grip obeys his rear wing instruction and says nope. Now he's got to find a convenient place to go for a restart, and it's right down in 10th position. AMAC has pitted, I think, and fixed the car, but Empire leads them away on the Stars and Stripes livery of the Delesi team here. We'll get close in and see the tribute to number 3, NASCAR legend, as P1 is Empire and well ahead of Run DMC in 2nd place. V8 Eater for Team Mega running in P3, and new teammate Christo running in that P4. Both drivers on the same strategy, it seems, the medium tyres. Jailhouse Chris from the very back of the grid, making his way up to 5th position, thanks in a small part to the exits and incidents from other drivers. But what a great start from Jailhouse Chris then, who runs through the first of those horseshoe hairpins and is looking good in his Coach Dave, original Coach Dave Delta kart livery here, and being lit up, of course, by the trackside lights. Only no headlights on the SF23s, and then putting 2 wheels out on that damp grass, having just entered the corner at just the wrong racing line, which is very narrow throughout the course. On them, you've got Liquid Gecko and John P with Lucas de Brusque. Oh, and John P with a traction oversteer moment coming out of the in and out turn 6, the official turn 6 anyway, and spinning but recovering nicely. So drivers queuing up at the back of the grid here to trade mistakes one after another. So Empire with a good strong lead at this stage. I am very surprised to see the drivers spreading out to this degree already. Must be the aero effects here and the differences in strategy. The front 4 definitely. My apologies, folks. Oh, there we go. The front 4 definitely away nicely. Just had a small glitch there. I've been struggling a little bit with my PS5 lately, so that's definitely something I need to try and attend to. Jailhouse Chris in 5th, and behind him we've got Vice with a big gap then further back to Nintendo in that 7th position. As the drivers in front start to close in slightly, let's join Christo on board, shall we, who's running the Stars and Stripes across his halo in this special livery, which I think we will see for the 2 night races, which we've managed to push together in the calendar. So it's Daytona, and then we are headed to Tokyo Expressway in the night for a little bit of Tokyo drifting as Christo comes through the in and out nicely. And then we'll follow his teammate. He's lost a little bit of time on this lap to his teammate, but at the moment, managing the stint and managing the tyre, I think, is the order of the day. Here is the Mega Transport Special Night livery, car number 84. Just getting that organised at last moment, as Christo has gone for a new permanent seat, having been a reserve driver for Bergstein earlier in the season. Jailhouse Chris running in that 5th place. We do love a special livery here on the channel and at SVR, but we also love our iconic classics like this beautiful black and gold Lamborghini edition of the SF23, as entered by Jan Placht Interiors. Nintendo with a big gap behind and in front at the moment, and Liquid Gecko in the original Kimi's Racing Team colour scheme hasn't gone for that gold and purple colour change paint scheme, but some new chevron patterns across the nose there, which is very attractive indeed, as Liquid Gecko runs out on the wide side. And can he keep it together? He can just about keep it together, and that was very well done from him. We'll have a better look at the other guest livery to date once they're on the banking, and here is this is what it's going to be then. It's our race leader, Empire, running those Stars and Stripes, looking great in that Daytona special livery in all the lights, and at the moment absolutely peerless and having a very straightforward race of things. But it hasn't always been this way for Empire, so he's hoping to park some of those issues, and here are some of those sparks that the drivers are dealing with. In fact, you can still see the sparks from P1, let alone from P2, on board with V8 Eater as he tries to catch Run DMC. It looks like he is managing to start to build some some speed here and some lap time. 1:30.147 for V8 31.2 the last lap for the guy in second. That's Run DMC, and also V8 pulling away from his German teammate Christo at this time as well. But these two, the closest two cars on the grid at the moment, and fighting over the podium as well. The 999 of V8, but this is no emergency situation. He is working the wheel smoothly to this moment in the race anyway. In towards the in and out we go. And then it's a matter of being super gentle on the throttle or following the black rubber line on the circuit and trying to maximize the grip available to you. Through this, you'll see the drivers' heads bouncing and bobbing all the way through the oval. And then back onto the straightaway, and it's a lot smoother running. The gap now dropping still, as V8 has got the new fastest lap of the race as well. Just a young driver, V8, but one of our very fastest here in S2, and is handy in a Lexus GT3 as well. So very accomplished racer in two very different cars. And here we go then with a great slipstream, is catching Run DMC. I think we'll be on him by turn one as the gap drops and drops, and a second consecutive fastest lap here from V8 around the outside we go. And can we hang on to this one? Run DMC parking it on the apex and hanging on to his position, as he has every right to do. V8 thinking about a move possibly into the infield, but maybe, as you see the flames on the off throttle moments on the way through into those hairpins especially. But maybe you've got V8 is running lower downforce here. Two very different ways of running the race. A high downforce for best overall speed, or you go for best outright top speed with a completely trimmed out car, and you just try and hang on for dear life through this very low grip infield section. Let's join V8 on board as we get that tow much earlier into the proceedings here. We'll try and catch a distant tow from the car to our four at the moment, and that is Empire. Need a nice smooth run through the apexes of the bus stop, and actually we're catching, and I think Empire's tires are fading pretty fast right now. Looking to the rear, and he's already gapping Run DMC behind. V8 keeping his light under a bushel at the moment in the first part of this race, and now on the aggressive, and we'll check in with the tyre wear on Empire, and he is trying to make, I think, the longest stint possible on these soft tyres. But surely the approaching black chrome and red accented classic F1 livery of the Team Mega nighttime special here is certainly looking threatening in his mirrors. Not quite as easy in the SF23s to see the cars coming in your mirrors in the nighttime conditions, because of course they have no headlights, but that green LED sequence on the engine box is helping. A little look then from V8 to just showing himself in the mirrors, and it looks like Empire is really fighting the car for grip as he's blocking the way to the apexes legitimately here, and Run DMC is catching, but now V8 surely now coming out of the in and out and running in the spark lines of Empire and gaining that speed advantage with the slipstream and the overtake button as well. Empire shaping right, shaping left, trying to choose which way is best to defend, but it looks like it's easy pickings then for V8 using that slipstream, using those medium tyres, and straight through the bus stop, and then using a little bit more overtake to get ahead. But he is spending that overtake quite prodigiously at the start of this race. We're only on lap 9 of 26, but that means we are a third of the way through this race. Empire about to lose a position again to Run DMC, it seems, as they go over the start-finish line, line astern with one another. They're almost touching real whims, and Run DMC was ahead for a moment, but Empire had the inside line, managed to outbrake himself, I think, and Run DMC sneaks it through on the inside on the switch back, and Empire sees P1 and P2 disappear from his own view here, but he'll be hoping he gets to use those medium tyres later on in the race, while V8 and Run DMC are either on aging softs or on very slow, hard tyres, but it looks like it's going to be VAT to Run DMC ahead of Empire now for the foreseeable future, at least until perhaps Empire has to change tyres and change strategy. Christo not able to hang on just yet, but we'll be listening in to the team chat and trying to catch Empire. I'm sure VAT will tell him that that Empire is vulnerable at this stage, using a little bit of overtake as well. The driver's not really hanging on to this overtake as Jailhouse Chris in no man's land at the moment. And back to go back through the field again, we have Nintendo in P6. Larger gap behind than in front, but still not much doing there, as Vice is also running in then P7 with a bigger gap behind than in front. Liquid Gecko in 8th place. And then we have potentially some action coming here for the fight over that 8th place, because following and trying to pick up a distant toe is John P. And then behind him, Lucas the Brusque, as they head towards that bus stop. AMAC has had that unscheduled pit stop. Got some fresh medium tyres on, but they won't have bought in much in the way of race pace as a result of then obviously taking the extra set of tyres. But thankfully, Kimi's racing team bringing enough tyres for that strategy. V8 is not able to get away from Run DMC here, and I think this is about now just protecting those mediums for as long as possible. Run DMC has the opportunity then to use that slipstream. And if they're sensible, they can piggyback the slipstream off each other and try and get away from Empire. We'll see if anyone is going to use that overtake. But in fact, both of them using the overtake, a small amount anyway, and then following in those sparks. And fantastic run here once again on the gyro cam. And heading into the bus stop, VAT has been strong into this bus stop. And yet again extends his lead going through that sequence, but it does seem to be that that he struggles in the infield, and I completely relate to those struggles, kicking out the sparks once again. And Empire is losing track and losing ground here to the cars in front of him. We'll see how deep he's going. He's going into the pits right now on lap 11, and I fully expect then a set of medium tyres to be attempted to get him home. Let's keep an eye on what's happening with him. I'm surprised at how little fuel they've used, actually, these SF23s at full throttle for much of the Daytona lap. Of course, the home of the Rolex 24, with using the infield, held in January every year. And of course, 3 or 4 multi-class race held here at this historic racetrack, and not just the Daytona 500 being used on the tri-oval for the season. So Empire P5, he comes out of the pits. He's gone onto those medium tyres. Shouldn't be too difficult then to make full use of those mediums for the remainder of the stint. It is lap 12 of 26. He's come out in 5th position, the first driver to pit, and I think possibly the only driver who started on the soft tyres. But of course, with that pole position, that option was very much open to him. And he trying to guarantee that he had the whole shot, as they say in rallycross. He had the first turn of the first lap taken care of. Here is Nintendo, and he'll be hoping to try and use some of that sweet slipstream, sweet draft here on the way towards the bus stop. In fact, just hesitating, maybe a little bit of Lyco going on for Nintendo. Oh, and he's flirting with danger there with penalties coming through the bus stop. Managed to escape. And again, those fantastic sparks lighting up the racetrack in front of Nintendo as they go through. Jailhouse Chris pits off the medium tyre. That's very early, but he thinks that his next set of tyres will do the next half of the slightly more than half of the race as we have to go. Vice running in P6. And then we have, there's Jailhouse Chris into the pit lane. We've got Liquid Gecko going through into now 7th position thanks to that pit stop. Behind him is AMAC. And just want to make sure that we catch. Here it is, a little bit of action. Oh, well, for a moment at least, as Lucas the Brusque gets that typical on throttle oversteer and then damages the front of the car. as well. He's spent all of his overtake. He's glowing red already. It's lap 13 of 26, and he's got less than 20%, less than, I would say, around 15% of his overtake available energy left in his push to pass allowance. So Lucas the Brusque, with damage on the front of the car, thankfully, I think has not yet pitted, so he can pit probably now or in a lap's time and get rid of that. But there is a big cost for front wing damage here at Daytona, as we see what this Kimi's livery looks like in the infield on board the AMAC entry here, the Ferrari powered SF23. At the front of the grid, there is still barely anything to separate V8 Eater and Run DMC. There's a good amount of racetrack separating them and P3 though at the moment, which is Christo. And then of course remember that Empire is in that 4th place and is managing now to get some speed and get away from Nintendo, so he's not under threat at this time. Let's go back to Run DMC and V8 Eater then, because it looks like this is where the race is being run at the moment for battling for positions anyway. Buxton Transport Service fan favourite, teal and white. That was a little bit cagey coming on out of the in and out, and he's going to lose ground all the way down to the bus stop here. I think he won't be able to recover that, will he? Well, he's used a bit of the overtake power to start to get back into the slipstream, so it's helping, and it's almost a damage limitation tool at this stage for Run DMC. Some of the drivers were telling me that they could, on low fuel and on fresh soft tyres, they could go through the bus stop flat out. Now, I don't think anybody is trying that in race trim here, but such is the downforce ability of the SF23s that they are able to make some absolutely amazing lines work in qualifying at least. So the fastest drivers will certainly be daring each other to try and go flat out, and treating that tyre wall on the inside of turn 1 with a very wide berth at this stage of the race is Run DMC, and I think V8 Eater in front as well. Nice little bit of trail braking going on for Run DMC to get the car hooked in to that apex as much as possible, and putting in some good laps at the moment, only a 10th of a second shy of his fastest, and just keeping an eye on that rear right tyre, which is causing these throttle oversteer or snap moments. And as long as it only turns one way and is corrected, it's a snap. If you start turning it the other way as well, it's a tank slapper, essentially, from the parlance of MotoGP and motorbike racing, of course. Sparks flying once again here at Daytona. You can't see the crowd, but I promise you they're there. And we head down into the bus stop, directly into the face of the camera lens. Christo still running in that P3 at the moment, and Empire, huge gap here on his new tyres to Nintendo's 5th. We have Vice in 6th and Jailhouse Chris in 7th position, and these drivers nice and close together as they, well, Jailhouse Chris did pit and has put his soft tyres on. He was running 4th earlier on and sets a fastest sector through sector 3. Can he hang on to it as he goes through the bus stop sequence as well? That looked fairly smooth, and he'll try and hook up into the slipstream of the JPI Lamborghini in front of him. Personal best, so it's not hanging on to a fastest lap overall. That is a 1:28.29.928 from V8 Eater at this stage, and Jailhouse Chris continuing then to catch Vice, and in turn Nintendo only 85 thousandths of a second away from his very best as the blue and orange flames lick out of the exhaust on the Coach Dave car, singeing the paintwork or wrap, but for the time being things are okay with regard to the livery application, and the team would like to spare having to do a complete re-livery application in between night races, I think, and I hope that other teams start to step up their game with the customization. Obviously we don't want to change overall color schemes, but it's always nice to have something new to look at and talk about on the streams. Lucas the Brusque in P9 needs to look at being slightly less brusque with his push to pass button, I think, this stage, P9, and with very little push to pass remaining. AMAC either is holding it on for the final third of the race or hasn't found the button yet. I imagine we have had drivers say this, that they actually didn't keybind their wheel button to a boost ability before a race. So he'll be hoping to find that button before the end of proceedings. Hopefully his team have helped him out here. John P at the back at the moment, and he's winding through, keeping that turbo spooled up as he tries to recover the race at this stage. He's on the soft tyres as Vice pits off the mediums. And at the head of the field, well, V8 Eater has opened out a really impressive gap from Run DMC. So V8 Eater looking really good at this stage of the race. But of course, we still have the pit stop to take into account. How big can they make this gap prior to pitting? Christo is in P3, isn't troubled by Empire, but perhaps if Empire starts to catch Christo, he could do a job for the team here and hold up Empire and open that gap, most particularly when V8 Eater has his in-lap. But I think the gaps are too large for those tactics to really be at play. I tell you what else has happened is the wind has moved to the south slightly, and it has increased to 4.3 meters per second as well. Racing through the bus stop back onto the NASCAR turns 3 and 4 is Christo as he heads towards the apex of the tri-oval and goes across the start-finish line. Those yellow chevrons are the penalty marker boards, and we see the cars sparking in the background. Well, all of those strategic options have now been nullified as Christo pits, and that will promote Empire in the Stars and Stripes back to third position, and his gap to the cars in front now getting on for half a sector or so, and again running quite wide there. Empire, perhaps the speed not quite with him here on the medium tyres, which is fairly obvious to say, but the dominance, the circuit dominance that he had earlier on, peaked early, and then he's been in decline since then in terms of pace differential between himself and V8 Eater particularly. V8 Eater will be looking at at his track map. He might even be using the Hector tool with his race engineer to find out where he can pit out, keeping an eye, using Hector as well, audibly, I imagine, to finding out where Empire is at any given time. What times is Empire running? And I'll have a look at that in a moment for you now here on replay as Christo comes out of the pits in 4th position. Only lost 1 place as Jailhouse Chris is right on his tail as well. So Empire's last lap of 31.171 and V8 Eater 31.689. Of course, same tyres, but very different ages on those tyres. V8 Eater is running long into this race before going for those soft tyres. We are at lap 18 of the 26, so only 8, have I done my maths correctly? Only 8 laps remain, plus the end of the one that they are on. Well, not even that now for V8 Eater, who has started his 19th lap on the medium tyres. Looks to be an easy one-stopper here today, and the medium tyres from the start of the race with 70 litres of fuel. We're not going to even be worried about the fuel running out here before the tyres cry foul. There won't be much in the way of tyre refilling either going on, as the difference between Empire, who is fueled to a finish, and V8 Eater at the moment on the fuel count is absolutely minimal. And I can't quite work that one out, other than perhaps we need to fill these cars with less fuel for the 50-minute races that we are attempting here. Anyway, so V8 Eater pushing hard here on the bounce back after what was a very tough steward set of decisions for the young racer to take in the days following the race, but showing impressive fortitude and bouncing back from adversity is V8 Eater at this stage of proceeding. Don't want to speak too soon, as into the pits is AMAC, and I'm just going to check in with what's happening at the back of the grid here, as John P and Lucas de Brusque, and then of course AMAC are all going to be occupying the same turn at any given time. These hairpins are long, long time spent off throttle and then gently applying the throttle. So these really can define your speed over the course of a Daytona infield run. Run DMC himself now pits off the medium tyre. That's promoting Empire. And I'm sure V8 are keeping an eye on his lap times at this stage. And when they start to dip, they've been in decline, but only by a tenth or two over the course of the last 7 laps. So he hasn't really hit a cliff of tyre performance. But if he's being kept informed, perhaps, of Empire's lap times, he's losing time considerably here. But Run DMC, you can see that was the time difference between Empire in third as he was, and Run DMC in third plus a pit stop. V8 really needs to pit right now by the look of things if he wants to hold on to the lead on the road, because at this stage of time difference between the two cars, he is losing so much that he's going to end up behind not just Empire, but he's going to be risking coming out behind Run DMC. He may fancy his chances and just being really strong on the tyres on the way out and aggressive, but no, into the pits. At the end of lap 20 comes V8 on the medium tyres then, and Empire, we will ride with him and see if we can't see an exiting V8 from the pits. Will there be any fuel going into the mega car currently stationary in the pit lane? It looks like not much, if there is at all. Empire taking the lead momentarily, but V8 has a shorter run to come out. There he comes. Oh, and just at the crucial moment, Empire loses the car just when he knew he needed it the most. Empire has a massive tank slapper coming on through that turn 1. And that is going to really hurt. He might have been hot on the heels here, but just a flirtation, the merest shaving of action on the outside tyres on the marbles, losing grip, and the impetus is now very much with V8 on the soft tyres. And he's so far ahead at this stage that he doesn't need to worry about a slipstream at this point. In fact, worrying is going to be Empire in his mirrors. And he's already defending into the dogleg. He's defending into the West Horseshoe as they head into here. Run DMC has put in a fantastic slipstream switchback move and just breezed on by. Remember, he's on the soft tyres and Empire's on the mediums. And Empire's been on those mediums a lot longer. And he needs badly to use some of that overtake push to pass that he's not really held on to a great deal of. You can see that Run DMC has quite a lot more. Empire was imperious at the front of this field in the early going of this race, but he's going to have to do this from underneath now. This is going to be a very tricky point where he's got a tyre disadvantage and he's got a push to pass disadvantage at this stage of proceedings. So this is the kind of comeback we need from a champion in waiting, as Empire leading that championship, having 3 victories on the bounce. If I remember my my pre-show properly, let me just double check on that one. Empire, no, excuse me, two wins, 4 consecutive podiums, and 2 feature race wins so far this season has Empire at this stage, the number 90. And Christo is closing in as well on the soft tyres. So if Empire ends up off the podium, this will be an absolute shocker, I think, from his very high standards. Jauhas Chris is prowling around there as well with 4 laps to go, plus the end of the lap that they are on at this time. And behind this group is a small group, just a pairing of drivers. You've got Vice and Nintendo, who are pretty close, at least on the track map view, here in 6th and 7th positions. We've got Liquid Gecko in 8th on his own. 3 cars together, AMAC, Lucas the Brusque and John P, but they're not particularly together at this stage. So we continue then to check in on progress with our new leader, V8 Eater, after the pit stops, and he is looking very good out there. Run DMC has great pace on the soft tyres as well, and he may be trying to make a run for the win here. I'm sure he is, but he'll have reasonably high hopes that it's available to him with well, just about equal amounts of the push-to-pass allowance left on the cars. Empire in that third place. What can Christo do in comparison? A 33.5 for Empire that previous lap, which had a bit of a problem on a couple of the corners, and he was past a 31.5 on lap 22 for Christo. So gaining a second, he probably needs to be doing that every lap, plus some. But maybe that is what the tyre delta is going to give him. There you can see second, third, fourth, and fifth positions all in the same camera angle, as Daytona camera angles give us an absolute treat there coming through. And it's V8 with 3 plus the end of the lap he's on to go, who has a very good chance here at taking a completely unequivocal victory, hopefully, for his bounce back attempts here from as I say, those post-race issues at the end of the previous round at Interlagos. Particularly the sprint race, I think, was a problem, but that was mostly down. We saw, even on the replay, we saw lag on the car in the sprint, which he managed to fix in between sessions, and I thought that was absolutely miraculous. It is Vice in P7 chasing Nintendo P6 here at the moment, as the lead quad have just about half a lap of distance between themselves here and the rest of the group. And we have Liquid Gecko in 8th place. This is down at the back of the grid. Here we've got Lucas de Brusque ahead of John P, but behind AMAC. Remember, AMAC with that lap 1, turn 1 damage and incident and early pit stop, so he's not at the back. He's doing his best to bring himself forward and try and be there if there are any late race fuel issues or struggles from any drivers. I don't think anyone's going to be running out of fuel today. As we start lap 24, well, we're halfway through lap 24 with V8 onto the banking we go. Only 0.3 of a second slower than his fastest, and a new fastest lap on those soft tyres, a 1:28.617, showing ridiculous pace at this point, and just trying to break the spirit of the chasing pack. Run DMC in P2, and then I think the most likely move is going to probably come from Christo chasing Empire. A 30.9 was Christo's last lap, contrast to 31.3. It's probably not enough here for Christo to catch, but as soon as he gets the tow, or if Empire makes a mistake at all, then of course Christo will be right there, and Empire will be keeping a very close eye on the speed of Christo at this stage. Here is on board with the Max Verstappen Champion Edition helmet of Vice, rocking on the textures on the road going through the oval. Vice is a terrifically fast and aggressive driver, and never refuses an overtake as he powers on and channeling his hero, I think, here. Great speed, great use of the overtake as well, going on the high line from Vice, and it looks like it's going to be a fairly easy one by the time they get through. He's already passed is Vice as they cross the start-finish line. Vice up to P6, and can he just judge his braking zone correctly on the way into turn 1? That's always the issue when you've just made a fantastic move, and no. Oh dear me, I hate being a predictor of issues here. Vice just hanging on the outside line, but he's going to have to defend hard going on into the West Horseshoe, the International Horseshoe, excuse me, the turn 4 or 3. I guess it's 3. They kind of call the left right just one turn 2, but Vice hanging on, and again running out wide. And the soft tyres are letting go on him. That is a big shame for Vice. Nintendo also on the softs, very similar wear rates, and Nintendo has 0 boost here, so Vice has a small advantage, a small chance to try and get back past. We'll try and keep an eye on everything that's going on as V8 starts his final lap, and will breathe a sigh of relief once he's through turn 1 for the final time, and he has managed that. Here is Run DMC going into the same sequence. Then we've got Empire, remember, on the older medium tyres, having enjoyed his time on the softs early on. Both himself and Christo showing the red light on their engine cover, and Christo with just the tiniest amount more boost here available to him than Empire. And I think coming on, we will probably have Christo giving it a go, either out of the in and out or out of the bus stop. And he's closing in very nicely here. Is Christo possible double podium on the offing here for Team Mega? That would be very welcome in this S2 division, where they have struggled to keep points on the board so far. Empire using his overtake. Christo not yet, maybe a small amount as he tries to stay with the D'Alessi car in front. V8 Eater is through the bus stop though. So he is rounding the NASCAR. Turn 4. He will bypass the optional chicane. He is weaving. He's risking damage against the wall, but V8 Eater wins in Daytona for Team Mega. And a very popular result, I'm sure, all round for V8 Eater. What a fantastic second stint of the race he put in. And Run DMC in P2 with a personal best to finish on. Here is Empire finishing in P3 ahead of Christo, who did, well, I would say run out of fuel, but I think possibly had an issue. It was a penalty. He just gave it everything, I think, going through the bus stop. Let's have a look. We didn't get to see the bus stop trip. So what did he do wrong going into the bus stop here? I think it's basically do or die through here. He's trying it flat, I think, and it was just too much. There it is, 2.5 second off throttle penalty, but I think ends up keeping his position, does he? Essentially, well, he hasn't taken the penalty just yet, slowing right before the line, and then he'll struggle on because Jailhouse Chris is not a million miles away. But Christo finishing P4 for Team Mega on his debut. What a fantastic debut that is as well. The team will be very happy, and so will Coach Dave with Jailhouse Chris finishing in P5. There we've got Vice coming up to the end of the race and coming through with 0 boost remaining. I wonder what's happened to Nintendo as well, who's dropped down to 7th position. Vice comes through to take 6th. Nintendo, no obvious penalty being paid as he heads in, and it looks like Liquid Gecko is going to try and drag for the line. He's spending the boost, but he didn't quite have it at the end, and he ran out of boost on the line, I think, Liquid Gecko. No, he actually left with some boost in the tank. Liquid Gecko in 8th. AMAC comes through to cross the line. That was a well-fought P9 in the end after lap 1, turn 1. Lucas de Brusque will be 10th. John P will be 11th place, but V8 Eater in the McLaren 2000s edition reminiscent 999 entry for Team Mega wins in Daytona. What a tremendous performance, and congratulations to him and to the team. Run DMC in 2nd and Empire finishing out in 3rd. Thanks so much everybody for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. There's a thanks button if you're feeling generous. But make sure you're also subscribing to @SVR-Racing channel for all the good stuff in the intervening period in the week, and of course for the exclusive home of the S1 division. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did, and hopefully we will catch you again very soon here at SVR. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next race day.